This is my magic hat. When I wear my hat, I can do magic things. Like I can see the future. I know you don't believe me, but I can. Not necessarily in enough detail to spot stuff like that happening. But first of all, let me give you an outline of what the future means. Have you ever seen a railway repair yard? They've got it's like spokes in a wheel, and there's a center turntable, which is a single track that can turn and point at any one of the spokes in the wheel so that the locomotive can advance forward into its specific garage, which in this case is around outside the spokes. So time, the future, present, I think of it like that. We are that locomotive on that rotunda. When you look at the future, you look straight ahead. Now, there are more possibilities off this way, and you may not, you may be able to see them, but they're just too absurd. Like over here in the future is where the aliens come and, turn everybody into baboons that perform as slaves. I mean, that's like way off over there, kind of. It's not even in the selection, but I had to come up with something stupid. But whereas in the front, you've got your multiple, depending on what decisions are being made here and now, with what level of future you're looking at. I mean, are you looking at your own personal future, or like one person's future, or are you looking at the future of a nation or the world, the universe? What are you looking at? Because there's going to be different answers to each one of those layers of question. Now, at the moment, people are terribly concerned about humanity reaching what's known as an extinction event. An extinction event is when things get so haywire and so out of whack that we simply fail as a species. And, slammed back into the Stone Age is one of those favorite things people like to say, because the idea of no humans whatsoever is just, what, you mean I'd have to die too? No, there's got to be some of us left. Somehow I've got to be one of the few left with a bevy of women or men or no. Everybody knows women do most of the work. Okay. So right now, when I look forward, I can see close to a half a dozen possible directions. One of those directions is being well perceived by a whole lot of people already. And by the way, the longer you stand looking in a certain direction, the more likely that you will go in that direction. Let me repeat that. The longer you look in a direction, the more likely you will go in that direction. So if all of you paranoid people talking about being controlled by a tyrannical overlord are looking in that direction, and your gaze is gradually pulling us there. Now, alongside of you, there are a lot of other people, visionaries of different sort. There are people who envision a world where people become finally masters to a man and a woman and a child, every one of us, even the babies, as machines serve all of our needs and provide us with comfort, and diseases get solved and technology steps up to the plate and solves all of these problems. I confess I'm one of them. I do still look in that direction. That's the direction I want to go. And then there's other directions that you can look in. There's a direction where we continue to coast along as we are for another few hundred years before anything significantly changes. Where we just keep grinding along and winding it out and barely keeping up, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Those are 3 really obvious ones. there's a shady one that I can't see where somebody brilliant comes up with something unbelievably smart and clever that solves a problem significant enough to radically alter the course of history. There's also the one where we all blow each other up. Oh, you betcha. That one's one of those 6, 5, 6, whatever. That's in there. The one where we blow each other up with our weapons. That's an extinction event. So, as I say, the direction that I look in is the one that I want us to go in. And the direction you look in is the one you're more likely to go in. Now, like a democracy, that does not mean that we're going to go in the direction I'm looking. Because the more people that look in a specific direction, the more likely we are to go there. And that's where I want to speak to those of you who are frightened and paranoid and trying to recruit others to your cause. You're not coming up, you're telling us what to fear and what to worry about, what could happen. But you're not really giving a constructive, future forward thinking solution to that problem, or giving us a picture of a world where that problem is solved and steps to get there. So what you're doing is not constructive criticism of the system. What you're doing is destructive criticism of the system and trying to drag the system in the very direction you don't want to go, like a person who stares horribly at an accident on the side of the road to such a degree they steer right into it. You got to fight your fear. Now, it's possible I'm not afraid because I can see the future. I can accept that. But it doesn't change the fact. And I mean, ooh. Have I mentioned I struggle with panic and anxiety disorder? Because I can see the future. And about the only thing that gets me through life is knowing 2 things about myself. One, that I am the toughest person I could possibly ever be. And there are few as tough as I. And 2, I really don't care if I don't survive it. I'm concerned about quality of life, not duration. Duration is a, life's not that easy. Life's not that fun. Life's not that valuable to me. So quality definitely trumps duration. So I'm not really afraid in the same way that a lot of people are, and not feeling like I need to get everybody excited about something. And I honestly don't understand the point of getting everybody else excited. Go do something concrete. Then demonstrate it and let that carry a message. Standing there like this, telling people what to do, what to be afraid of, you're not fixing the problem. You're adding to it. Honestly, you're not being the hero you want to be. You're warning everybody, but what you're actually doing is you're getting everybody to look in the direction of the flippin' iceberg. How are we going to steer around it when we're staring straight at it? Show us how to get around it. Don't stop pointing out the obstacle. Start pointing out the negative space we need to aim at. Because when you're steering, you steer for the negative spaces, not the obstacles. And you folks think you're steering us, and what you're actually doing is you're dragging us all into the ditch. Boom. Okay? Let's have that future where the people running the tech still have hearts, where citizens still remember how to put a leash on their government and get their government to rein in the corporate citizens of their nations. A world where we shake off the propaganda of anti-socialism and begin to look after each other and make use of the wealth, the unprecedented amount of wealth, comfort, and peace that this globe is enjoying right now, and one where we appreciate and notice said wealth and peace. We've never had it so good. And if it wasn't for the lack of historical education in our culture, we'd understand that a little better. So let's look forward to will you please try yourself to dedicate some of your mental space to visualizing the world as you want it? And try to share that vision. Thanks.